would you like to begin for us reading?
Okay, text 1, Krishna book, Jai Srila Prabhupada. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated the Rasa dance took place on the full moon night of the Sharat season. From the statement of previous chapters, it appears that the festival of Govardhan Puja was performed just after the dark moon night of the month of Kartik, and thereafter the ceremony of Bhratri Dvitiya was performed. Then the wrath of Indra was exhibited in the shape of torrents of rain and hailstorm. And Lord Krishna held up Govardhan Hill for 7 days, up until the 9th day of the moon. Thereafter, on the 10th day, the inhabitants of Vrindavan were talking amongst themselves about the wonderful activities of Krishna. And the next day, Ekadashi, was observed by Nanda Maharaj. On the next day, Dwadasi, Nanda Maharaj went to take bath in the Ganges and was arrested by the men of Varuna. Then he was released by Lord Krishna. Then Nanda Maharaj, along with the coward men, was shown the spiritual sky.
Read one more, okay, Bhusha? One more
In this
paragraph.
way, the full moon night of the Sharat season came to an end. The full moon night of Ashvina is called Sharad Purnima. It appears from the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna had to wait another year for such a moon before enjoying the rasa dance with the gopis. At the age of 7 years, he lifted Govardhan Hill. Therefore, the rasa dance took place during his 8th year.
Okay, thank you. Any comments on that, Bhusha?
Just that they're very nicely, Prabhupada's pointing out that when these are happening in the season, and exactly what part of the waxing moon or the waning moon and like that, so then you can pinpoint when this is actually happening in Sharad season or autumn. So that part's very nice.
So when is the Sarat Purnima, do you know?
Sharad Purnima is what's the full moon, and it's on, I think it's the 2nd.
It's Monday. It's Monday.
Monday.
Today is Saturday. The day after tomorrow is Sarat Purnima.
Haribol.
Aye.
We all have sweet rice.
There you go. Yeah, I was going to say that.
Okay, Jagarini, why don't you read from Vedic literature? Is that all right?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
From Vedic literature, it appears that when a theatrical actor dances among many dancing girls, the group dance is called a rasa dance. When Krishna saw the full moon night of the Sarat season, he decorated himself with various seasonal flowers, especially the Malika flowers, which are very fragrant. He remembered the gopis' prayers to goddess Katyayani, wherein they prayed for Krishna to be their husband. He thought that the full night of the Sarat season was just suitable for a nice dance. So their desire to have Krishna as their husband would then be fulfilled. The words used in this connection in the Srimad Bhagavatam are Bhagavan Api. This means that although Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has no desire that needs to be fulfilled because he is always full with 6 opulences. Yet, he wanted to enjoy the company of the gopis. Bhagavan Api signifies that this is not like the ordinary dancing of young boys and young girls. The specific word used in the Srimad Bhagavatam is Yoga Mayam Upashitaha, which means that this dancing with the gopis is on the platform of Yoga Maya, not Mahamaya. The dancing of the young boys and girls within this material world is in the kingdom of Mahamaya, or the external energy. Can you scroll up because thank you. Okay, where are we? Okay, energy. The rasa dance of Krishna with the gopis is on the platform of Yogamaya. The difference between the platform of Yogamaya and Mahamaya is compared in the Chaitanya Charitamrita to the difference between gold and iron. From the viewpoint of metallurgy, gold and iron are both metals, but the quality is completely different. Similarly, although the rasa dance in Lord Krishna's association with the gopis appear like the ordinary mixing of young boys and girls, the quality is completely different. The difference is appreciated by great Vaishnavas because they can understand the difference between love of Krishna and lust.
Okay. Pati, is it okay if I ask the devotees if they have something to say at this point?
Yeah, sure. There were a couple
Okay.
good points in that.
Okay, Jagarini, would you like to comment on this? And if anyone else wants to comment in a pressing point, then you please, I guess you can raise your hand or let us know somehow. Jagarini ji?
It's so deep. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada is again and again emphasizing that this beautiful pastime is not to be thought of in a mundane way. And I think it's amazing that Srila Prabhupada wrote Krishna book as one of the first things for us to read. His mercy, that he gave us that. Even though it was just like pearls before swine at the time, right? We were just young and didn't know anything. But somehow he had faith in us and that we could hear his words and understand that these are transcendental subject matters.
Yeah, it's interesting because he says young boys and young girls, modern day young boys and young girls. So if we understand that, even when we were young, right, we could understand because the Krishna book, even though it's very miraculous and very advanced, everybody goes to it according to their level, and everybody can get something out of it. Really,
right.
He wrote it in such a way where everything is relatable by every class of people. Oh, we got some comments here.
Yes.
Koronatji, thank you, Jaggreen.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Bhagavana P. Prabhupada explains it, but it's like it's saying, even though he's Bhagavan, even though he's already full in 6 opulences, he's dancing with girls, which ordinary dancing wouldn't be done by Bhagavan, or you might not ordinarily think that Bhagavan would be, because he doesn't need anything. He's not lusty. He's not, trying to fulfill some need. So Srila Prabhupada explains it that way, Bhagavana P.
Oh, with everything. It's not a mundane dance. It's not, and Krishna's engagement in it is not mundane. Thank you. Acharyaji.
Hare Krishna, thank you. I remember Satsarup Maharaj explaining how he was Prabhupada's typist. And Prabhupada at that time, he was mostly on the West Coast and he was dictating into tapes the Krishna book and mailing them to Satsarup Maharaj, who was typing them out. And we can't even imagine now, but the devotees had never heard these pastimes before. We've heard them. We know all these pastimes. We've heard them all before. But I'm just trying to imagine, like, the first time they were hearing it, and Satsarup Maharaj, he was typing out the dictation. So when he would give class, he would share the stories with all the devotees. So you can hardly even imagine it, hearing it for the very first time, how exciting it must have been.
Wonderful. Okay. Anyone else? And we'll go on. What was that?
Yeah, first, Didi, I'd like to find out where my hand raising is. I'm on an iPad, so it's a little different from my computer.
You're cutting
So I
out a
was
lot,
trying to find out
Mukunda.
where
Your
would
connection's
the
not very good.
hand.
Mukundaji, your connection is not clear.
Okay.
I could hear
Yeah.
what he was saying. And Mukunda, if you go down to the bottom, it should be on the bottom of your screen. Sometimes it's on the side, but you'll see things: participants, chat, react, share.
And
If you go into
participants know that
React,
should pop up, right?
if you open React, you'll see that there's a raise hand button that you can
Or
push.
you can just do like this.
Yeah. Go back from
That's
technology
great.
to Montreal.
Actually
Okay.
raising
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think we'll do that. It's easier. All right. Yeah, just there were.
You know what,
couple of things.
Mukunda, wait a second. Turn off your audio. Because
Okay.
sometimes when you turn off the audio, not the audio, the
video.
the video.
Here we go. Is
Now
that better?
speak.
Is
Let's
that
see.
better?
I think so. Start talking.
All right. So yeah, there were a couple of things that the Sarada Ras Leela is also very interesting because when devotees will obtain perfection, if their desire is in that particular mood, it is that Ras Leela which is the entry point for devotees in their perfection. There is another Ras Leela which is called the Vasanti Ras Leela. And that Ras Leela is done among the Nitya Siddhas, means those who are fully accomplished in their prema. The other special thing about Ras Leela described by the Acharyas is, I think later on we'll have some discussion about rasa, but the description is rasanam samoha iti ras. It means that all the rasas in the highest degree are present in this particular Leela. So of all the Leelas of Krishna, the fullest measure of love and rasa is present in this Leela. This is why it's so glorified.
Wow.
That's mentioned in Madhya Leela chapter 8 in Ramananda Samvad.
Wow.
So very wonderful.
Wonderful. We have a lot to look forward to. But what do you, Mukunda, one thing real quick. What do you think about this Rasa Leela being heard by all kinds of devotees? I mean, my understanding is that whatever you hear, if it's presented by the Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, it will get to you to the level that you're at. You
Well,
understand?
actually, yeah, in 10th canto it's mentioned, Vikridam Rajavarubiridam Chavishnu, Charanvitam Nushnu Aniyat Yaha. Then it says that actually this should be heard. Yachutva Tatparo Bhaved. In Sanskrit language, Bhaved is like an imperative. You should do this.
Right.
So we should hear it, but the caveat is it should be heard like we're hearing it from Srila Prabhupada.
Right.
So if we're hearing from Srila Prabhupada, we're hearing from authorized acharyas, our previous acharyas, our Gurudevs, etc., then it's proper hearing. I think Srila Prabhupada's reticence about just openly hearing from anybody is that if that person is not situated nicely in the cyclic succession in our Guru Vargas, then they may be speaking something that's not even properly Ras Leela.
Yeah, that's true. That's good. Okay, we're going to thank you, Mukundaji. And now we're going to go on reading. If Raghava would continue for us on the Mahamaya platform. Raghavaji?
Hear me?
No, louder, please.
All right, because my voice is very bad.
There you
Can
go,
you hear me
that's good.
now?
Yeah.
On the Mahamaya platform, dances take place on the basis of sense gratification. But when Krishna called the gopis by sounding his flute, the gopis very hurriedly rushed towards the spot of rasa dance with the transcendental desire of satisfying Krishna. The author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, has explained that lust means sense gratification, and love also means sense gratification, but for Krishna. In other words, when activities are enacted on the platform of personal sense gratification, they are called material activities. But when they are enacted for the satisfaction of Krishna, they are spiritual activities. On any platform activities, the principle of sense gratification is there, but on the spiritual platform, sense gratification is for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, whereas on the material platform, it is for the performer. For example, on the material platform, when a servant serves the master, he's not trying to satisfy the senses of the master, but rather his own senses. The servant would not serve the master if the payment stopped. That means that the servant engages himself in the service of the master just to satisfy his senses. On the spiritual platform, the servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead serves Krishna without payment. He continues his services in all conditions. This is the difference between Krishna consciousness and material consciousness.
Oh, boy. So what do you think about that in relation to what we've just been speaking also?
I just want to make a comment that if you listen to this morning's class, Mahesh was playing those tunes on his flute that were attracting the gopis. And that's what I'm thinking about. All those different melodies, how they were just leaving everything and running off to see Krishna. So that's my comment in that sense. But
Wow.
I'll pass on other comments right now.
That's beautiful. Patsy, you want to put back the words for one real quick second? This, in relation to what we're talking about, the eligibility of hearing about this pastime, you notice how Srila Prabhupada intercedes everything with the philosophy. So to understand what is sense gratification, what is spiritual sense gratification. So no matter what level, again, one is on, these instructions are for everyone on how to understand Krishna and Krishna consciousness. Okay?
Can
Yes.
I say one thing? It just came to mind.
Yes.
It's what's amazing to me is, like I said before, because Krishna book was there, one of the first books that we had to read these things, and Srila Prabhupada created an environment to not only explain it in words in his books, but we experienced it. So in this particular paragraph that Raj just read, Prabhupada's comparing material sense gratification to transcendental sense gratification, which we all experienced, right? Our excitement, our pleasure was when Prabhupada would come, or to see the deities in a new outfit, or whatever was going on at the temple, whatever celebration, to this day. And we stayed because that was a higher, a more sublime feeling than the sense gratification we had as kids, going to rock and roll concerts or whatever nonsense we did when we were young. So we're not just reading it, but we're living it. And Prabhupada gave us that right from the beginning. And anyway, that's all I got to say.
Sama, you're muted.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go on reading. Thank you, Jagarini.
Very nice, Jagarini. Thank you for that.
That's perfect. Okay, let's go on with Madhurya Leela. Are you still here? Madhurya? Let's give her a second. Madhurya Leela ji?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Would you like to read, sweetie? Thank
Sure.
you.
So where it appears,
Yeah.
it appears that Krishna enjoyed the rasa dance with the gopis when he was 8 years old. At that time, many of the gopis were married because in India, especially in those days, girls were married at a very early age. There are even many instances of a girl giving birth to a child at the age of 12. Under the circumstances, all the gopis who wanted to have Krishna as their husband were married already. At the same time, they continued to hope that Krishna would be their husband. Their attitude toward Krishna was that of paramar love. Therefore, the loving affairs of Krishna with the gopis is called Parakiya Ras. A married man or a wife who desires another wife or husband is called Parakiya.
Go on.
Actually, Krishna is the husband of everyone because he is the supreme enjoyer. The gopis wanted Krishna to be their husband, but factually there was no possibility of his marrying all the gopis. But because they had that natural tendency to accept Krishna as their supreme husband, the relationship between the gopis and Krishna is called Parakiya Ras. This Parakiya Ras is ever existent in Goloka, Vrindavan, in the spiritual sky where there's no possibility of the inebriety which characterizes Parakiya Ras in the material world. In the material world, Parakiya Ras is abominable, whereas in the spiritual world, it is present in the super excellent relationship of Krishna and the gopis. There are many other relationships with Krishna: master and servant, friends and friend, parent and son, and lover and beloved. Out of these rasas, Parakiya Ras is considered to be the topmost.
Any realizations?
Well, so Parakiya Ras is present in the spiritual in Goloka, but not the Swakiya Ras, right?
In Goloka? No. Oh, well, which part of Goloka? Pachi, you want to answer that? Well, you're muted.
What about Dwarka?
Yeah, that's it. Come on. Madhurya, what about Dwarka?
Yeah, that's the Swakia Ras, not the Parakia. I mean, they're married, so it's
That's where it's the Parakia Ras is in Braj, is in Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world. That's the only place it exists. Oh, Thakur Murari is there. And okay, then according to Nasek, Thakur, unmute.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thanks for
Krishna.
bringing us back. So each time I read it, I'm smiling in the sense that what would normally be considered abominable in the material world is the topmost in the spiritual world. For example, gopis who are married still wanted to marry Krishna. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I'm saying that the gopis are already married. They still want to marry Krishna. And we are saying in the material world, you wouldn't be looking at, you have your wife or husband, but you wouldn't be looking at a wife or husband. So, as we read before, whatever looks bad in the material world is topmost in the spiritual world. So each time I read it, I am smiling. Hare Krishna.
And that's why we have
be further described in the next paragraph too, with an analogy.
Madhurya. Oh,
Yeah,
Madhurya.
yes.
Yeah. Did you have your hand up?
no.
Oh, you didn't. Okay. Kornath. Kornath, you're going to speak later when you have to talk about your thing. Just
Okay.
wanted to say, but you talk now.
Okay. That just this question of whether there's Swakia Ras in Goloka, I'm not sure I know the answer, but I know that Jiva Goswami has written that toward the end of his Leela, after killing Dantavakra, he came back to Vrindavan and he actually married the gopis.
Yeah.
At a wedding.
That's we didn't get there yet. Yeah, that's also, you said Jiva Goswami? Is that what you said?
Yes.
And Gopala Champu.
I
Yeah.
think so, yeah.
Yeah, that's sublime, and we didn't get there yet, but we're going. We're all going.
I think his point was that in Goloka Vrindavan, there's both Swakia and Parakia. But one of the point that Srila Prabhupada's making out is that the Parakia is ever existent in Goloka Vrindavan. Some people say that he only comes to this material world and that's where it's manifest. So he was clarifying that point.
Inconceivable. That's always a word that saves us. Inconceivable. Okay. Thank you. So, Faye, are you able to read, Faye? How are you?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I love you.
I love you too.
Okay, I can try a little, but my pronunciation in speech isn't very clear. If it is offensive to others, I will not read.
Well, you go, give it a go, Faye.
Okay. The material world is the perverted reflection of the spiritual world. It is just like the reflection of a tree on the bank of a reservoir of water. The topmost part of the tree is seen as the lowest part. Similarly, Parakia Rasa, when pervertedly reflected in this material world, is abominable. When people, therefore, imitate the rasa dance of Krishna with the gopis, they simply enjoy the perverted, abominable reflection of the transcendental Parakia Rasa. There is no possibility of enjoying this transcendental Parakia Rasa within the material world. It is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam that one should not imitate this Parakia Rasa even in dream or imagination. Those who do so drink the most deadly poison.
Oh, boy. Hare Krishna. You did very well. Hare Krishna, Mark. Nice to see you both here.
Neil.
Thank you,
I mean, Neil, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Good morning. Hello.
Hare Krishna.
For those who don't know, Faye is one of the people that's actually been here with us studying Srimad Bhagavatam and all of Srila Prabhupada's books since 2008.
Yeah.
And last year she had some jaw medical procedure, and that's why her speech is a little much improved, though, Faye.
Very
Since the
much.
last time we saw you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, Patti, you want to take over? Did we finish that section?
Yeah, so yes. And what we'll do tomorrow is post Visvanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary on that same verse 1. Plus, we'll include texts 2 and 3 from the Krishna book and from Vishwanath's book. And it clarifies very much more than what we just covered here. This is a little introductory. Those concepts of Bhagavanapi. The point that Vishwanath will make is similar to what Akruranath was pointing out, that although he is Bhagavan, Atmarama, fully self-satisfied, doesn't need anything because he's the owner of all opulences, that due to the environment and I don't want to give it away too much, some of the things that we'll speak about now about rasa inspired him to the point where he actually had desire to enjoy with the gopis. It's one of the initial points in the whole rasa dance, although he's Bhagavanapi. And then the next point that was brought out in that particular section from Krishna book was Yogamayam Upashitaha, that it's all being performed by the internal potencies of Yogamaya, not Mahamaya. And we'll go more into that in detail. But one of the things that I wanted to do to start our whole study, this is going to be a slow burn. It's not a quick read through it and do it in a few hours or even a week or two. I wanted to go deep into this particular part of the Bhagavatam because it's the essence. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur calls it the crest jewel, the prize jewel in the treasury of all of Krishna's Leelas. So there's so much to learn. Samapriya and I this summer were appreciating the analogy. If a whole bunch of people, hundreds and thousands, millions of people are in a stadium that's round, like a big coliseum, and there's a gem, a huge gem in the middle with shining lights on it, everybody will see that gem and according to the facets shining to them as individuals. And everybody will see it just a little bit differently. So this pastime is unlimited, as we'll read. But to understand it, going through again Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers, Rupa Goswami especially, is how we can further understand it deeply. So what I wanted to do was cover some basics of rasa and what it means and the terms that are included in it. It's kind of from my realization, it's like mathematics. First of all, you learn 0 through 9. This is considered like Vaidhi Bhakti. You follow the regulative principles, chant 16 rounds, go to the temple. But then what happens with math is you learn how to take those numbers or the alphabet, 26 letters. The next step is how they work, how to use them, how the numbers come together to add and subtract, multiply, divide, fractionalize, how the letters come together to form words, how words form concepts. So the next part of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu after Vaidhi Bhakti is Raga Sadhana Bhakti and Bhava Bhakti. So let's go on to the next part of the text that I included in this lesson 1. This is the only place we'll cover it. It's not that we're going to get really into Sanskrit and a lot of technical details. We'll be reading stories and pastimes from now on. This is like learning those basics so that we can see how they're applied later as we go through the book. So give me a second to bring it up and we'll go from there. Okay, this is Sanskrit terms explaining the essence of rasa. This section is a discussion on rasa to help readers become more familiar with terms used by the acharyas narrating these pastimes. Rasa refers to the spiritual flavor, emotions, or mellows experienced in devotional relationships with Krishna. It is the emotional essence of bhakti. The science of rasa is explained in detail by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, translated into English by Srila Prabhupada as the Nectar of Devotion, and further elaborated upon in the sequel titled Ujjvala Nilamani. Okay, can we have somebody else read, Priya?
Yes, Acharya. Would you like to read, Acharya-ji?
Yes, I'd love to. Thank you. From the Nectar of Devotion, Chapter 20. In this second division of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there are 5 general topics. 1. Vibhava, special symptoms or causes of ecstasy. 2. Anubhava, subsequent ecstasy. 3. Sattvika bhava, constitutional ecstasy. 4. Vyabhichari bhava, aggressive ecstasy. And 5. Sthayi bhava, continuous ecstasy. The word rasa used in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is understood by different persons differently because the exact English equivalent is very difficult to find. But as we have seen our spiritual master translate this word rasa into mellow, we shall follow in his footsteps and also translate the word in that way. The particular loving mood or attitude relished in the exchange of love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called rasa or mellow. The different types of rasa, when combined together, help one to taste the mellow of devotional service in the highest degree of transcendental ecstasy. Such a position, although entirely transcendental to our experience, will be explained in this section as far as possible, following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami.
Right now, what is it? Thank you, Acharya-ji.
I was hoping you could speak a little bit on these 2 sentences.
Good. Go on, Acharya-ji.
Acharya, give us a little help with
the particular loving mood or attitude relished is called. So I'm not sure what to say about it, that this is what rasa is, that it's the exchange of love between Krishna and the devotees. And these 5 different elements, when combined in different ways, help to fulfill or manifest the rasa, Prabhupada says, to the highest degree of transcendental ecstasy. I don't know.
No, that's
much more what I can say.
Exactly what we're looking for. One of the things that I've been impressed or had an impression on me was we're all pleasure seeking. And sensual pleasure, obviously, we're devotees because sensual pleasure it didn't completely bewilder us for a whole lifetime. We've come to the point where we're looking for something more than that. And the rasa and exchanges of love between the living entity and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are far more pleasurable than anything that can be experienced in a material plane. I just thought that was beautiful, the way Srila Prabhupada stated it.
One thing else that this is kind of a remembrance, I guess, going back, 46, 47 years, I became a life member at the New York Temple, and they gave me a bunch of books, and then I went away to college. And one of the books was Nectar of Devotion. And I remember reading it, and of course I didn't understand a bit of it, but I so much loved the scientific and detailed and sort of the categories and the different causes and effects and how scientifically and detailed and beautifully it was all presented. Even then, I appreciated that, even when I didn't know what the heck it was talking about.
Nice, beautiful. Yes, there's a sense of something wondrous, but what it was and how deep it goes, we had no idea.
Yeah, not just wondrous, but like detailed and rational, and it's just explained so much, so nicely.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Next, Sama.
Well, I don't have my other. Oh, okay. Chikamayi, are you there? She was here.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, Hare Krishna.
Wonderful pranam, everyone.
Hare Krishna. Nice to hear your voice.
Glories to your service.
Oh, glories to your service.
Okay.
You can read.
Vibhav, stimulation of ecstatic love. First category is alamban, ashraya, and vishaya. The first component to consider in any relationship are the participants, the alamban, those who experience the various rasas. In Sanskrit, two terms used in this category of alambana are the ashraya and the vishaya. Ashraya means shelter. The person who shelters an emotion is the ashraya of that emotion. Vishaya refers to the object of the emotion. For example, when we speak of Radha's love for Krishna, Radharani is the ashraya, the lover, and Krishna is the vishaya, or beloved. However, when the point of view is adjusted to consider Krishna's love for Radharani, then Krishna is the ashraya, or lover, and Radharani is the vishaya, beloved. Both.
Go on.
Okay. Both the ashraya and the vishaya are grouped under the category of alamban, which is one aspect of vibhav.
Okay.
Aha, very nice chart.
So now there are different people who are going to discuss these different aspects of love. And I'm going to talk about the ashraya and the vishaya. And Prabhupada has very nicely described the vishaya. The ashraya is the abode of love, the lover, and the beloved is the vishaya. And actually, if we look in the world, even in this material world, that's actually what love is. There's two participants, at least two, there have to be. It can't be just one person by himself loving. He has to love someone or something, right? So, and we see also that sometimes the roles switch. Sometimes Krishna is the ashraya and Radharani is the vishaya, because there's reciprocation. There's reciprocation. An example is when a child is cared for his mother. The mother is the ashraya, the abode of love, right? She is bestowing her mercy. She is doing everything for her child. She's engaged in service to her child, and the child is the vishaya. He is the recipient of that love. But sometimes the roles change, and the little child might pick a flower and go to his mother and say, please take this flower. And he's acting as the vishaya, as the ashraya to his mother, who has become now the vishaya. Even our relationship with Srila Prabhupada, or our Srila Prabhupada, we'll talk about Srila Prabhupada, he is the ashraya. He is the one loving us. He is the one bestowing mercy upon us. And we are the vishaya because we're receiving that. We're the recipient of that mercy. But even in that relationship, because relationship always, and love means two people, love has to be there. In fact, everything in the world is based on these two principles of ashraya and vishaya. So even in our fallen condition, we get an opportunity to become the Ashraya and love Srila Prabhupada by serving him in some way, even offering fruit, flour, whatever service. We are given the opportunity to act in that manner because that's part of love. And we see again that the two roles change. And of course, Krishna, seeing the love of Srimati Radharani, understood that there's something that he's not getting in the position of Vishaya, that only Radharani is experiencing. And of course, there's the three reasons that he came to the material world to experience, and we'll cover that later. But so he wanted to experience that thing. He wanted to be in the part, take the role of the Ashraya, the shelter of love, the abode of love, and see what it is that's allowing Srimati Radharani to love so deeply. What is that special thing about the Vishaya, about being the Vishaya? So he comes as an incarnation. He comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach us all. Actually, he had to come as a devotee because that's what the devotee is. The devotee is a lover. In the material world, we see, oh, everyone wants love. Everyone's unfulfilled. I want love. I want love. Where am I going to go to find love? But actually, love, the abode of love, is within our hearts, within each one of us. We can muster that love by devotional service, by chanting the holy name, so that we become a lover. And Lord Chaitanya came to show us that this loving propensity is more satisfying than looking for love anywhere else. We have to look in our hearts and give love. We become the givers of love. So that's that was something that went all the way around the universe, coming to this conclusion that if you want love, you have to give it. And then more love comes, and then there's no more war, and everyone loves each other. So the Vishaya is the recipient, and the devotee's duty is to develop that, uncover that love is in his heart, so that he can distribute it to everyone. And the source of his love is Krishna. So that's why Lord Chaitanya came, to show us this intimate pastime of loving the Lord. Hare Krishna. Now, after that,
looks like Acharya's hands up.
Acharya, I'm sorry, Acharya ji.
Hare Krishna. That it's really I find super interesting that the devotee is the Ashraya of love for Krishna. And of course, it's still 2 or 3 chapters away in the Rasa dance. But when Krishna sees the devotion of the gopis, he says, I can't pay you back. I'm indebted to you. So that's why Krishna is so attached to and indebted to and serving his devotees, because they're the source of what he wants. Of course, nothing's, Krishna can and does do everything, but in a sense, he's dependent on the devotee because the devotee is the Ashraya.
Right. But the thing is that every living being, every soul has this within him, has that love propensity. Every living being, Krishna included, this is the essence of what everything is, love. It's all love and it's all relationship. So how do we do that? We're looking externally in the material world for that. Internally, we have to find. And then a devotee is the best one. Srila Prabhupada came to teach us this, and Lord Chaitanya's method of love. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions about these concepts? Because as we're discussing, they are foundational in understanding the relationship. But the Ashraya and the Vishaya, and these terms will come up as we read through the Acharya's comments. So is it clear for everyone? Is there any more questions before we go on?
Okay. Like everyone's
Okay,
ready
good.
to go back to God.
We'll just do one more, I think, Sama, and then
Okay.
what we can do on these terms. We want to try and, so everybody understands our format. Twice a week, we'll have Zoom meetings. And in order to maintain the scheduled ability to do that, we're going to try and keep it as close to an hour each time as possible. We could go on endlessly as the nectar starts to get churned. But if we keep it in an hour a day, or maybe 15 minutes or something within that, that way we'll be able to maintain it. So these Sanskrit terms, rather than doing all of them today, what we'll do is these two, the first two, and then we'll go on subsequently to further describe them and go into that part of the science.
So you just
I still want one more.
Just the Udipan, is that?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Let's finish that, and then we'll do the other. Wait a minute, we have to do Akurnachi. Do you want to take over here?
So just as a preamble, and I know we have short time, but this, what Prabhupada was saying and Acharya was talking about before, that these are high topics. These are Alambana, Udipana, and Vyabhichari well, those are sections of Vibhava, and then there's Anubhava, Vyabhichari Bhava. They all come at the stage of after one is in Sthayi Bhava, you have a permanent love, a permanent steady ecstasy. And so this is really, when I was thinking about what Jagarini was saying about how, Prabhupada was teaching us this, it reminded me that, at least for myself, I'm in this Vaidhi sadhana bhakti stage, but we're learning that we get happy when we please Krishna. We're doing things in service to please Krishna, and then we experience some transcendental ecstasy from that. But Udipana refers to, just like Alambana refers to the support or the relationship in which love appears, Udipana is described as that by which love appears, that which nourishes the devotee's bhava, that which awakens the ecstatic love of the devotee. And these are described as Krishna's qualities: his flute, his ankle bells, his conch, the marks of soles on his feet, his dwelling place.
Akurnath, why don't you read directly from the book here?
Okay.
Because you're saying the same thing, but that way you'll have more of a base to speak from.
Sure. The other aspect of Vibhava includes situations, circumstances, or objects which evoke love and is called Udipana. Those things which awaken ecstatic love are called Udipana. Mainly, this awakening is made possible by the qualities and activities of Krishna, as well as by his mode of decoration and the way his hair is arranged. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 2.1.302 also gives the following further examples of Udipana: Krishna's smile, the fragrance of his transcendental body, his flute, bugle, ankle bells, and conch shell, the marks on his feet, his place of residence, his favorite plant, tulsi, his devotees, and the observance of fasts and vows like Ekadashi and different ceremonial activities of devotional service connected to his devotion, all awaken the symptom of ecstatic love. This is from the Madhya Lila 23, chapter 23, verse 50 purport, which is one of the main sources of discussion of these things. So an example from the commentary of Srimad Bhagavatam 10.29.1 is, even though Krishna is Bhagavan, full in 6 varieties of opulence, Bhagavanapi, he turned his mind toward enjoying because of the time, place, and persons, which are 3 udipanas to excite to rasa. The time was the full moon night of autumn, Sharada Purnima. The place was the forest of Vrindavan, and the persons were the lovely damsels of Braja. All 3 served to inflame the passion of enjoyment by their supreme capacity to attract Krishna's mind with their sweetness. So his residence, I don't know if I read that above, but the place of Krishna's residence is another one of the things that awaken love. His fragrance and different vows and fasts. So that's basically the subject of Udipana. These are two divisions of Vibhava, or Vibhava is like the cause of bringing about love, and they're divided into Alambana and Udipana. So yeah, that's basically open to more discussion about it, but that these things, and then the other Anubhava is these are other parts of
yeah, we'll go on to
we're gonna go on to that later.
let's stay in the category that so that it's step by step.
Okay.
Just to show that chart. This kind of shows the whole element of Vibhava.
The participants and the stimulating factors or circumstances. So does anyone have any question about that? Jagrini, do you have a question or statement?
Can I take like 1 minute to tell a little story about an experience I had with Udipana?
Sure.
Just, it's real quick, but it was meant a lot to me. When I was a new devotee in 1973, one of my first services after actually it was before I received Brahmin initiation, I was able to do backup work in the Pujari room. I used to make the bouquets in Radha's hand, and I would take care of her hair. I would always fix Radha's hair because we did that off the altar. We did that in the Pujari room, and then the devotees would bring her hair, put it on, and I really relished that service. About 5 years ago, I was in Mayapur, and I was standing, at morning program. It was right after Mangal Artik, and the deities the pujaris were on the altar, etc. And a pujari frantically came out. It was a group of women. We were standing together chanting japa, and a devotee came out and said, "Is there anybody here who can help with deity service?" And I was the only one that hadn't used the bathroom. Like, I was the only one really clean enough. So everybody said, "No, I can't. I said, "I can." She says, "We need you to do Radharani's hair." And I went into the Pujari room, and I just, and she's huge. Her head is huge. So the wig is huge. And anyway, I just spent that whole morning, making, how in Mayapur, her braid, she wears it a lot with the braids wrapped around her ears, like the gopis are shown in pictures. Anyway, it was just an experience that I had that I felt like Krishna was reciprocating with me. Radharani was reciprocating with me, remembering from when I was a new devotee. It was pretty ecstatic.
Well, maybe that's your eternal service.
Maybe.
Hare Krishna. It's something like that, maybe. Hare Krishna. There's the chart.
So once again, just to kind of overview it, we have this category called Vibhava, which are causes of affection. There are the participants, the lover and the beloved. The participants are causes of affection, and the circumstances, the stimulating factors that enthuse the alambana. And that's the first category. Mukunda Prabhu, I know you were set to speak on Anubhava, but we're getting a little beyond our schedule. I apologize for that. Are you going to be available to do this at a future time? You're going to stay with us?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe I just say one thing.
Yes, Mukundaji,
you have to
turn off your video
again because you're breaking up.
Turn off your video, Prabhu.
Let me do that. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So a statement that kind of gives a clear picture, because when we break it down individually, it is working out very well, but sometimes it's difficult to get the full picture. So I'll just give the verse and I'll give an example. And then in the future, we can do Anubhav particularly. Is that okay?
Are you going to be reading from this part online? So I put it up, or something from your
Oh,
own?
no, I was just saying, I would just say something and then we'll save the Anubhav for the next iteration.
Okay, yeah, he wants to say, yes, certainly.
Okay.
I'd like to hear it.
Yeah. So we're talking about rasa, and I think it's important to take the definition that's given in Ujjalimani. The definition is given. I'll say it in Sanskrit, but then I'll explain it shortly. Vyatiti bhavana vatma yas chamatkara bharabahu ridi satvale ujjale bhadam. So he's saying here that essentially what Rus is a chamatkar. The word chamatkar means an astonishment. So the elements that were described first, Vibhav, which is the Alamban, the Ashray and Vishaya, and Udipan, they create a wonder. So I'm going to give an example that I've heard many times, and it'll kind of illustrate. If you will take water, lemon, any sweetener, because many people don't do sugar, and you take raspberries or blueberries, when you put them together in a particular combination in the right proportions, you get something called raspberry lemonade. So even though it's water, sweetener, the lemons, and those raspberries or blueberries, whatever it is, it's that unique combination come together. It creates chamatkar, a wondrous new taste that's not water, sugar, lemon, or the raspberries, but the unique combination of them together. That is an example of what Rus is essentially.
Nice example.
Wonderful.
Yeah, this is from Ujjalin Mani. There's here.
There's another one too with the yogurt, black pepper, cardamom.
Yeah, exactly. So when you mix those things together, that's what creates rasa. That's what causes a chamatkar. Now it's saying though, Hriday Sattva Ujjale Badam. It can only be captured in the heart that has been illuminated by Suddha Sattva. So we're aspiring for that. We're aspiring for that stage, but it really is tasted by someone whose heart has been illuminated by Suddha Sattva. But we're aspiring for that, and I think Dhruva Maharaj, this is a wonderful forum, because if we don't try to learn about it and understand it, a taste or desire, deep desire for coming to that stage may not happen. You know that anything you want to do in life, you need an inspiration. Udipan, just to stick with the theme.
Nice.
So you can see that small children, they'll see a famous athlete that they admire, and they'll embed that in their existence, and they'll just go on and on with emulating, with the aspirational desire to be like that particular athlete. So now what we're doing is we're trying to follow a particular associate in a particular mood and their particular dimension of this rasa as our aspirational desire.
In regard to that, I just wanted to share my own experience. It hasn't become focused on one particular individual, but just understanding the Brajbasis and their general mood of relating to Krishna more as a person than as the all-pervasive, omnipotent, awe-reverent personality of Godhead, that kind of is headed in the right direction. Because a lot of the times people may become discouraged. Oh, I have no idea, so I don't give it any attention.
Okay, so can I say something in relation to that? We have to also be careful, just like when you're making the mixtures of this rasa blend, we have to be careful, just like Prabhupada talked in the very beginning about this is not ballroom dancing. This is not boys and girls dancing together. Yes. And we have to go through the purification process. As you said, Suddha Sattva, we have to become purified. To the extent of our purification, we will be able to understand these things, right? That's why years ago, when we first heard it, we understood it on a certain level, but we weren't as, we did get a little purified after over 50 years, we did. So we understand in a different manner. So, but at this point, I always like to stress that that's giving ourselves responsibility of our own hearts, like chant the holy name in a humble state of mind. We're in a fallen condition being in these material bodies, so we can't forget that. It keeps us on track. So I appreciate what you said very much, but we got a little more work to do, maybe. I think.
Sometimes when you put "we," that's
okay,
a very general.
Okay, I got work to do.
There's one point that was brought up by a Vinod that I just want to kind of tie into what we're talking here. She wrote it rather than speaking it. She said, I'd like to point out that when Prabhupada says Krishna desired to enjoy, it is not like our enjoying. The Hladini Shakti is within him, and he has no need for anything to enjoy. Yet he manifests the gopis, and due to their supreme surrender, he desires to reciprocate with their prema. He arranges the rasa dance to please them, whose only desire is to please him. This is the nature of prema. The ashraya desires only the pleasure of the vishaya. which is a nice point. So I think we'll stop there today.
Wait, Karnath
There's
had
so,
one more
so
thing.
much that can go on.
A small thing.
Okay.
Just I wanted to, as to this point of how we really have to, this is something we have to experience. I mean, we could study it in books and learn the categories, but to experience it, I wanted to relate. Keshav Bharati Maharaj told me that one time he wanted to ask Srila Prabhupada a question, and the question was, how will I know that I've pleased you? And he thought in his mind, the Prabhupada will say, well, when you please this temple president, and how will I know that I please the temple president? When you please the GBC, or, you know, he had something, or maybe I was going back when. So when he asked Prabhupada on a morning walk, Prabhupada said, then you will be pleased. When you please me, you will be pleased.
Nice.
Well, then we have to get purified to know. Is our pleasure really going to be Prabhupada's pleasure? It's very involved.
Yeah. One last element. I'm leaving probably in an hour to go do a program in Baltimore here, and the devotees have gathered to try to understand our practice, what the Diksha mantras are, and how these things synthesize. Because all of these things will be difficult to realize, even if we intellectually understand them, if we don't get a synthesis between the Sambandha Gyan that we got at Diksha and the practice we're doing.
So the
practice will remain kind of ritualistic, and unless we make that synthesis. So perhaps in another form or another time, it's really important to understand that, because devotees, it's difficult sometimes to understand, well, how do I know which associate I want to follow, et cetera, et cetera. So all requires a little bit of nuance in understanding the practice itself. If you look closely at what Srila Prabhupada gave as a practice, then study deeply what's in the Diksha mantras, then it starts to illuminate in the heart actually what's going on. So we'll leave it there.
Yeah, leave it there for when we give us a little.
Just one more
time to
point.
get there.
A humble suggestion. Monday night, tomorrow I'll post another lesson online. For those who don't have accounts, you go to sadhusangaonline.com and we put the texts and purports on. There's further explanation about this Sarat Purnima and the vibration and the celestial influences of that full moon. So if you're in a place where you can get outside Monday night, take advantage, chant a round or two outside in the full moon, and allow your mind to meditate on how Krishna is standing there and preparing the scene for the rasa dance. And we look forward to discussing it with you on Tuesday night at 6:30 at the next Zoom meeting.
Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna, Vanchakalpatarudascha, Shiva Sindhu Devacha, Nitanam Bhavavyo, Vaishnavavyo, Namo Namah. Thank you for your association, everyone. Hare Krishna.